The one big beautiful bill will modernize this decrepit relic and give America. It's time to pass the one big beautiful bill.
Canada has initiated a comprehensive and immediate suspension of all pork imports from the largest U.S. processing plant, a colossal facility operated by Smithfield Foods located strategically in Tar Heel, North Carolina. Welcome viewers to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. This abrupt and undeniably far-reaching halt in transborder trade commenced definitively on Thursday, July 24th, 2025, marking a considerable and acutely felt setback for Smithfield Foods, a company that commands a pivotal and leading position as the largest pork processor not just within the United States, but with significant global reach. The multifaceted decision underlying this decisive action extends significantly beyond what might appear to be mere regulatory technicalities. It concurrently highlights pressing and immediate concerns regarding stringent food safety standards and the adherence to critical compliance protocols, while also subtly but powerfully reflecting the broader, persistent, and often simmering tensions inherent in the intricate trade relations between these two historically close, yet increasingly competitive, North American economic partners, dissecting the specific underpinnings of the suspension's formal basis. The official explanation proffered for Canada's rather drastic and impactful measure, as meticulously articulated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, is purportedly and firmly rooted in their long-standing standard import protocols and well-established regulatory frameworks. The USDA has been quite explicit in asserting that the suspension was not an arbitrary decision, but rather directly and demonstrably triggered by the documented accumulation of 3 distinct instances of non-compliance occurring within a tightly defined and critical 6-month time frame. Under the very clear and unequivocally stated stipulations of Canadian import policy, such a documented pattern of repeated non-compliance automatically and without exception initiates a temporary suspension of imports from the offending facility. While neither the USDA nor Smithfield has yet offered a comprehensive, highly granular, and publicly available breakdown of the precise nature of these specific compliance infractions, the intricate details of which could shed further light on the severity and type of issues, Jim Monroe, a spokesman for Smithfield, did provide some initial, albeit intentionally limited, clarification. He specifically indicated that the core of the problems was intrinsically related to a limited number of certain offal shipments. This particular and seemingly nuanced detail strongly suggests that the issues might be more narrowly tied to specific animal byproducts, often referred to as variety meats, rather than necessarily encompassing the primary, high-value pork muscle cuts. However, the exact and precise nature of these non-compliance events still remains somewhat vague and awaits further elaboration from official sources. This ambiguity naturally leaves room for speculation regarding the specific health or safety implications that Canada identified. In direct and swift response to this unwelcome and economically impactful development, the USDA is reportedly engaged in an intense, expedited, and collaborative effort with Smithfield. Their joint and immediate objective is twofold. First, to meticulously address and thoroughly rectify each of the identified issues, ensuring that all regulatory gaps are comprehensively closed and that the facility meets Canadian import standards without question. And second, to concurrently develop a comprehensive, robust, and forward-looking corrective action plan. This meticulously prepared plan, which will outline the specific steps Smithfield will take to prevent recurrence, will then be formally and officially submitted to Canadian authorities for their rigorous review and ultimate approval. The USDA has expressed a cautious but notably optimistic outlook, suggesting that once this detailed plan is meticulously reviewed and formally accepted by Canadian regulatory bodies, the plant's eligibility to export pork to Canada may indeed be reinstated. This potential reinstatement would, hopefully, signal a clear, mutually agreeable, and viable path forward for the eventual resumption of this crucial bilateral trade, thereby mitigating prolonged economic disruption and restoring market stability for both sides. The process for reinstatement typically involves submitting such a corrective action plan, possibly followed by on-site audits or further documentation to demonstrate compliance. Navigating the intricate tapestry of broader trade dynamics. Despite the USDA's explicit and repeated insistence that the suspension is merely a matter of routine regulatory protocol and is, in their view, completely unrelated to ongoing, contentious trade activity, it is exceedingly difficult for market observers and analysts to entirely divorce this singular incident from the prevailing atmosphere of escalating trade disputes that have undeniably characterized relations between Washington and Ottawa in recent times. The precise timing of Canada's decisive action is particularly noteworthy and cannot be overlooked or dismissed as mere coincidence. This move by Canada unfolds precisely amidst a period of heightened friction, which has recently included intense discussion surrounding, and in some prominent cases, the actual imposition of various tariffs. Consequently, there is a palpable undercurrent of anxiety, even a sense of alarm, pervading within the broader American agricultural sector. This heightened concern is primarily focused on the very real and immediate potential for U.S. tariffs to inadvertently provoke widespread retaliatory measures from a host of major international importers across various agricultural commodities. Such a potential domino effect of retaliatory actions could, in turn, significantly and detrimentally reduce overall demand for American agricultural products across global markets, inevitably impacting the economic livelihoods of countless farmers, from hog producers to corn growers, and potentially destabilizing the entire agricultural supply chain, which is often characterized by its tight margins and susceptibility to trade fluctuations. Adding another layer of complexity and perceived irony to this already intricate situation, it is worth noting the significant detail that just a mere day prior to Canada's substantial suspension of Smithfield's pork imports, U.S. President Donald Trump had publicly announced a temporary, albeit time-limited, exemption for goods originating from both Canada and Mexico. This specific exemption, slated to last for a month, applied to the 25% tariffs that he had previously imposed earlier under the umbrella of a broader North American trade pact. This striking juxtaposition of events, a short-term reprieve from tariffs swiftly followed by a major, impactful import ban on a key agricultural product, vividly highlights the inherently complex, often unpredictable, and sometimes seemingly contradictory nature of international trade relations. In this volatile and